Ciao a tutti. Today we are here at Mr.Brown, Hong Kong, Wanchai, together with Chef Goldstein.
Hi, thank you for coming to Mr.Brown.
Thank you for inviting us for
Yes,
this
sir.
opportunity. Today we are here stealing another recipe that you can reproduce at your home. So, what are we going to do today?
We're gonna make a borek, which is a classic Turkish dish. It's kind of a meze, so it's a little starter to go with a drink or something.
Uh-huh.
Very, very tasty, very savory, very fun.
I never cooked a Turkish dish in my life. I never cooked Middle East in my life, only hummus. So I'm very happy that today I'm going to learn something new. And you guys are going to learn as well something new. So, where do we start?
Okay, first stage we need to make the dough. 2 parts flour, 1 part water.
Okay.
I'm gonna give Emanuele a little go.
So,
We're gonna mix it by hand.
okay. I guess we're going to put the flour first, right?
Flour can go.
Chef, I'm going to put all the water.
Put all the water at once, no problem.
Do we need to add any salt? Do we need to add anything? No.
No need for salt.
No need of salt.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yes, fantastic. So now we have our dough. Our dough is ready.
Yep.
So now, Asher, what are we going to use in this recipe?
Okay, so we have egg wash, which is basically 2 egg yolks mixed with 1 spoon of water. Very
good.
simple. This is for brushing the pastry after.
Uh-huh.
Another thing for finishing the pastry is just raw sesame seeds.
Okay.
For the filling, we're gonna use 2 ingredients, which is feta. We're gonna use Greek feta, which is made from sheep's milk, and spinach, which all we did to it is just cook it in water, hot water, straight into cold water, ice water, squeeze the water out, and that's all. So these 2 things are the filling. And for the layers of dough that we're gonna make, we have ghee, which is basically clarified butter.
How do we do a clarified butter?
It's very simple. Just put 1 packet of butter in a pan, very, very low heat. Wait until the fat splits and goes on the top. On the bottom, you're gonna have a milky liquid. So all you wanna do is use the fat from the top. You skim it with a little ladle. Keep the fat. You can keep the milky for a sauce, for cakes, for pastry.
How are we going to build it up? Because I see an interesting machine here.
Yes, so we have a pasta machine. So basically what we're gonna do is start rolling the dough that we made. After we rested it for at least half an hour. Been rested and we can feel that it can push it and it doesn't bounce back, so it's quite soft and it will be easier to roll and it won't shrink as much.
So can we say that in case you don't have a rolling machine at home, you can eventually buy a pâte brisée, a dough brisée in the supermarket and basically do the same kind of recipe?
Exactly, you can buy filo pastry.
Filo pastry.
So basically the step we're doing now is making the sheets of the pastry. You can skip that by buying in a supermarket.
Very good, Asher. Thank you.
It's quite similar to pasta, and the way we're gonna roll it at the beginning is exactly like pasta.
Yeah.
So you'll be familiar with
Familiar,
the rules a little
yeah.
bit.
I come
And
from
then,
the pasta
The
area.
special part or the more particular part for this comes at the end,
Yeah.
when we're gonna stretch it by hand.
I'm
So-
gonna try.
Yeah, go for it. So the first thing you wanna do, because we have a ball, we wanna make it flat so we can fit into the machine.
Yeah.
So just roll it out a little bit. Yeah. Perfect. A bit more flour on your bench. And in your hands.
Yeah. So,
Generous with the flour.
yeah. So, Asher, tell us something more about you. We want to know where you come from. What is your background?
Sure, I'm from Israel originally. I started cooking there around 12 years ago. Then moved to Sydney.
Uh-huh.
Worked in Sydney, trained in Sydney for 5 years. Then came to Hong Kong eventually. And we
How
met
long
each
ago?
other.
Yeah,
6 years.
6 years ago. Okay, cool. That's where we met each other.
That's where we met.
I
okay.
think now it's thin enough, no?
Thin enough, perfect.
So we can start,
So we can start rolling the machine.
rolling the machine. This is something I've done many times when I was even younger at my grandma's place, because I was always preparing the pasta, but Yeah, in our culture we do much more egg dough pasta.
Yeah.
So now I can squeeze it a little bit more.
So basically what we're doing now, we're rolling it out. Every time it comes out, it becomes smaller, the numbers become smaller, the sheet will become thinner, until it will be thin enough so we can actually stretch it by hand. You can see it's getting really soft, so it's really, when it's the sheet is this thin, it's quite hard to manage it when it's long. If we find it too hard, we can cut it in half and work with a half sheet.
Yeah, also because it looks like a big portion for home, unless you have many guests. But I think you can do a nice dough also and keep it for a while. You can also freeze this.
Freeze,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. So what is the next step?
Next step, we're going to cut it into 3 sheets.
Okay. Don't be shy with flour.
Don't be shy. The more you roll it, the thinner the dough gets. As you see, the sheet, when we roll it thinner, double itself. So we're going to cut it one more time. This is the fun part. We need to start stretching it by hand.
Okay.
So
This is interesting.
dust it with flour quite generously. Yeah.
And then
hold
I
it in
follow
front
you.
of you.
Yeah?
And then start gently. Hold it with your thumb. There, perfect. Try to hold it as close as you can to the end, end of the sheet.
Okay.
Got all the way to the back, all over.
I'm a bit more messy, as you can see, but opa.
The dough will shrink all the time, so we do it a few times.
In case you feel uncomfortable to do this, you can always buy a small dough,
Yeah.
brisé, a filo dough. Not a brisé, a filo dough, and you can do exactly have the paste already done.
You can grab it with the outside of your hand, your palms,
Uh-huh.
and just really gently keep stretching.
Mine is breaking, yours not. Why?
It's actually, if you have a hole, it's not that important because you're going to do layers.
Okay.
So my layer will cover your layer, so don't worry about the holes.
Okay.
Just don't make them bigger.
Okay.
Looks like we're doing laundry, not cooking.
Yeah. Ole. Okay, I'm
Okay.
making bigger holes. Okay,
That's super thin.
perfect.
As I say in Italy, you can read the Gazzetta through it,
Yes.
so that's a good sign. That's what we want. We want a thin sheet. We want it quite dusted with quite a lot of flour, so it doesn't
Okay.
stick to anything. That's what you want to work with.
Very
Alright?
good.
So let's start with yours. You can put it on the bench.
Voila.
As I said, the holes not very important. What you want to have is at least a square of really thin dough, super thin, which is what we have here.
Yep.
The thicker part outside,
We cut
we
it.
cut off.
Okay.
Cut off. This can be, you can boil it, use it as noodles or pasta,
Okay.
or you can
I
re-roll
can
it.
cut.
Yep.
So I'm gonna cut,
Rectangular shape.
and
with
then
only
I
that
cut
thing.
here.
Perfect.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay. And this one will do the noodles. What is the next step?
We need one more. Because basically what we're gonna do, or what Börek is layers of thin, very thin dough. So it can be
Okay.
filo, it can be the handmade filo that we make now. So when we cut the sheets, it's always good to have. We're gonna do 2 sheets when we roll it. So we want one a little slightly bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger. So this one is
In this
slightly
case,
bigger.
this one is a
And
bigger.
this one has only a little hole, so we're gonna put the small one on top of the big one.
Okay.
What we're gonna do before we put the pastry, we're gonna brush it with the ghee,
Okay.
which is basically fat. This fat will make that after when we bake it in the oven, will make the between the layers of the dough, the thin layers, it will fry them in the oven and makes them super crispy and brown. That's the whole beauty of this dish, the texture. It's a very textural dish. Okay. So
Can I ask something? In case that we have, as we mentioned before, also the pâte brisée, like the brisée dough, in this case, we would not use the butter
No, because the butter will be already in the pastry.
in the dough. So that's an important
no need.
thing eventually. If people decide not to use kataifi dough and they would use the brisée dough, you don't use the butter. You eliminate the butter and you go directly on the dough. So Now I'm going to be a painter. So what we are doing with a clean brush, we just spread our ghee, our clarified butter, on the dough.
If you don't have ghee or you don't have time to make ghee, vegetable oil can be a good
A
replacement.
good option. Okay. Like olive oil as well.
Olive oil,
Yeah.
any vegetable oil can be a good replacement.
Okay. Perfect.
Beautiful.
So now we're
Second
gonna
layer.
take this one and we put it on the top.
Exactly.
And we put the ghee again, or not?
No,
Okay.
no need.
So, mastering the dough. Allez. And now we step to the
Now we
ingredient.
go to the filling. Before you put the filling, we just press it together so
Okay.
all the fat will touch both of the sheets. We will press,
Fill the dough.
fill. That's the most important thing. So we're gonna do a very simple and classic filling, which is feta and spinach.
Let me try then.
Where you don't want to put is here, the top
Okay.
part and the bottom part, because
I can work on the middle.
only the middle.
Okay, perfect.
Only the 2/3 in the middle.
We start with the spinach, I guess,
Yep.
because it's gonna be our base.
When we use the feta, we really don't need to use any salt to add or.
Because there is already a lot of flavor. Okay, now we're gonna put the feta. I put it all, eh?
Feta is crumbled by hand. Don't need to cut it or grate it.
Yeah.
You want when you bite into it after when
You
it's
want to
ready,
fill it.
you want a nice chunk of.
Okay,
of,
okay,
feta.
okay. Looks already very yummy. The chef just told me that I have to spread it more, so I'm gonna spread it a little bit larger.
The reason being because we're gonna roll it, not like a tube. We're gonna roll it into itself. So we have
Okay.
layers of dough between the cheese and between the filling. So we want the filling to be flat and spread as much as possible. We're skipping these two parts, so we can actually tighten it at the end.
So now we're gonna do a roll, as you
Now
said.
we'll start rolling.
We're gonna do a roll.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to keep it and make it growing.
Beautiful.
Is it okay?
Yeah. Just before you get to the last bit and you have this little lip of
Yeah.
pastry, brush it again with ghee.
Ghee. Okay.
Because what you're gonna have here, instead of 4 layers, you're gonna have more because it's the last time. So we put a little bit extra ghee so this will crisp up as well. And you won't have too many layers; it will be too thick.
Yes. Perfect. And then I close it.
Yep.
Voila. Ecco. I close it.
Okay.
Good. Now, what do we do with them?
So to make it look nicer, also more flavorful, we're gonna brush it with this egg wash.
Okay.
And then we're gonna sprinkle the sesame seeds, which are, once they're gonna be in the oven and toasted, they're gonna be slightly sweet and nutty. Works very well with the feta, with the salty feta. And also they give you another texture. So with the cut side down,
Perfect.
we're gonna go with brush.
The slimy egg. It's okay like this?
Yep.
So we put it all around. Nice.
Crispy, we'll give it a nice shine.
Good.
Very nice color.
Do we roll it and put it also in the back? Or it's okay like
No,
this?
only on the top.
Okay.
Only this is the side we're gonna present, this is the side we're gonna serve. We're only doing the top.
On the top. All around. Of course, I like to make mess.
It's good. There's a reason for the mess.
So you can also use a small, how do you call them?
Trays, baking trays.
A small tray. A small baking tray with paper, and you can also cut it and put it on the top in two separate things.
Okay.
Voila.
Okay. The reason we did the first stage with the egg here and not directly on the tray is because of this. We don't want this
In the cooking.
under. We're going to have a little omelette sticking to it. So we want
So-
it as clean as possible and no extra sesame as well. So that's what we want.
Okay.
Now last stage before baking is we're going to cut it.
Ah.
We're going to cut it first of all so it's easier to serve. And second of all,
That's why when I see the pictures of this plate, they are always like with this kind of lines. Okay.
exactly, you can bake it like this without cutting it.
Okay.
But when you want to portion it, it's so crispy that it will just
Okay,
break.
so
So
like
we
this
want-
is easier to break every time.
Like, easier to cut for your guest or whoever is eating it.
Since it's a mezze, which means a sharing dish, most of the time a sharing style.
Yeah.
Don't go too deep because
Don't
it's
go too
easy
deep.
to go deep.
You need to go like a third
Yeah.
into it.
Okay. I think looks amazing. So now we can put it in the oven. Which
Now we can put it in the
temperature
oven.
and how long?
In a home oven, I would say 180. The only
For
thing
how
is
many minutes?
15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
What you need to make sure is after 10 minutes, when it starts coloring, you're gonna have to turn it to get an even baking. If you don't have an oven with a bottom with a stone,
Okay.
you have to keep rolling
Okay.
it.
Perfect. So now it's the time for the secret ingredients, right?
So we're gonna serve the burek with some pickled cucumber. It's very, very popular in Israel and goes with a lot of street food dishes. This is just grilled tomato that we just grated. Took the skin off, grilled them, grated them.
We can find also a tomato sauce and dress it a little
Definitely.
bit, or fresh tomato, cook it and make the sauce.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Special ingredient will be the spice mix, which is a
Okay.
chili mix. It's called shug, which is a chili paste that we make in Israel, very
Uh-huh.
traditional.
I think we're gonna get our burek.
Let's go.
So, chef, we are done.
Ready.
Now,
Smells amazing.
smells beautiful. We can see how creamy it is inside.
So the little holes that we cut before is now helping us actually to cut it without breaking the shape of the burek.
In the backstage, also, we discussed about the different filling that we can do with this kind of recipe.
Exactly. You can choose if you
Sweet,
don't like feta, you can do other cheese. If you
Other
want
vegetables.
other vegetables, it can be a
Yeah.
meat filling as well. You can take it to a sweet direction. You can do like a mixed nuts with honey and just sprinkle the whole thing with honey.
I'm
So
gonna
very
do like this.
versatile. Yep.
So, and now we have our beautiful mezze ready. We are gonna try it, right?
Yes.
So, I'm gonna use my hands.
Definitely. It's street food, so you don't need a knife and fork. You go in with your hands with the sauce and
I'm
the
so
pickle.
looking forward.
Nice. Textures.
So good,
Salty,
so
a little bit
crispy,
sweet.
beautiful. So good. As we were saying, you can find this dish in
Francis, Wanchai.
very good.
If you don't want to make it at home, you can just come over. We always have it on the menu.
Great. See you again soon for the next still recipe from another talented chef.